That concludes our state legislative races. And finally, we're going to move to the 4th Congressional District. And we have 2 candidates here tonight. Speaking first will be Hayden Shamel. The way we're going to do this, I think you just draw one out of the bowl.
Oh, I do.
Check with Tyler to make sure.
Okay.
So, healthcare, pre-existing conditions according to the U.S. Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, an office of the federal government, as many as 129 million Americans pre-existing conditions that could prevent them from obtaining health insurance if the Affordable Care Act is repealed. Where do you stand on the issue of pre-existing conditions language in federal health care law?
Thank you, Tyler, and thank you to National Park College and to the Farm Bureau and to 50 for the Future. It is wonderful to be here on the campus of National Park tonight. My name is Hayden Shamel, and I am the Democratic nominee for United States Congress from Arkansas's 4th District. And thank you for that question, Tyler. So the question was about pre-existing conditions and where I stand in terms of that language in federal healthcare law. I don't think that there is a more important question in concern with this particular election than healthcare, and in particular pre-existing conditions. In fact, I would ask you in the audience, how many of you in the audience either have a pre-existing condition or know someone who has a pre-existing condition? I want you to look around. Look around at those hands. In May, we had a legislature that voted against pre-existing conditions. Pre-existing conditions affect 129 million Americans, as Tyler just read on that question. They affect 1 million Arkansans. And the reality is, all of us deserve access to affordable and accessible health care, regardless of if we have a pre-existing condition. By definition, pre-existing means that it's not your fault. And insurance companies shouldn't be allowed to charge higher prices simply because you have a pre-existing condition. I believe at my very core that healthcare should be both affordable and accessible for all Arkansans. And in fact, one of the core components of my campaign is significantly lowering the cost of prescription medications, because the prescription medication costs that we face now are absolutely outrageous. And I'm fighting in 3 ways to lower those costs. First, to allow Medicare to negotiate directly with pharmaceutical companies. That would lower the costs. Second, to end what are called pay-for-delay tactics. And if you're unfamiliar with what those are, that's where these major pharmaceutical companies go in and they pay off prescription drug makers that make generic drugs to keep the lower-cost alternative drugs from hitting the market. That's a practice that needs to end. I'm also fighting to allow for imports on common prescription medications from places like Canada, where they pay half the cost of what we do. So in answer to the question, we must protect people with pre-existing conditions.
All right, so our next question is immigration. According to a report last year from NPR, the U.S. spent approximately $2 billion on immigration detention. Also, according to the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, FYI budget request, the budget includes nearly $4.9 billion to expand detention capacity to support an average daily adult population of 48,879 and an average daily family population of 2,500 for a total of 51,379 beds. In your opinion, what do you think is the best way to approach immigration reform if elected?
Thank you again for that question. A very important question, and a very divisive issue. So I would start my remarks by saying this. I think that for most common sense Southerners in this room, all of us can agree that we need to do more to curb illegal immigration. I think that where the disagreement lies is in how to find the solution. And I think a lot of our problem in American politics today tends to be that we tend to shut one another out and not look or listen to one another's differing perspectives. I want to share with you tonight my perspective on immigration and immigration reform. I think the way that we tackle this problem is three-pronged. First, we do more to curb illegal immigration. Second, we facilitate legal immigration. And third, we do all of this while remembering that we have a staggering national debt that is topping $21 trillion currently. So the question is, how do we go about that? What do we do as a nation? Well, in my view, I believe that we can have safe, secure borders without caging children and separating families. I believe we encourage legal immigration. We facilitate a pathway to citizenship, and we protect our dreamers. Frankly, I don't want my hard-earned taxpayer dollars to go towards building a wall that will do nothing to actually address the issues of border security and instead is purely symbolic. We know that the way that we curb illegal immigration is with enhanced border security, and that's what we need to focus on. But what it really comes down to is what type of nation we want to be. Do we want to be a xenophobic, closed-off nation? Or do we want to be a compassionate, inclusive nation? Ronald Reagan once said, if a nation is going to build walls, it also must have open doors. And that's what we need to do. I know what type of nation I want to raise my daughter in.
And this question revolves around farm and agriculture. The USDA estimates the average age of Arkansas farmers is 58 years old and 61% are over 55 years old. What can Congress do to ensure we have a sustainable next generation of farmers and ranchers in Arkansas?
Okay, again, an excellent question, Tyler. So agriculture is Arkansas's largest industry. In fact, it comprised $16 billion worth of the state's economy last year. And Tyler said, I think the average age is 58 in Arkansas, and I think nationwide the average age is 57. And an interesting statistic about farmers and ranchers is that one U.S. farm can feed 165 people per year. Arkansas farmers feed the world. And it's true that we need to do more to ensure that we sustain a new generation of farmers and ranchers. So the question is, how do we go about doing that? I think our approach needs to be twofold. So first, we need to encourage more educational opportunities within the state. And we've got some existing programs that are doing a wonderful job. Arkansas Ag for the Classroom, for example, where they're encouraging garden grants, and they're also allowing for teacher workshops and educational opportunities K-12. But on a federal level, we also have to do more to ensure that we are growing up a new generation of farmers and ranchers. And that means we've got to equip our young people with the skills that they need to succeed. But we also have to provide them with the resources that they need. And not only do we need to do that, but we need to ensure equitable access to federal crop insurance. Those things will help ensure that our Arkansas farmers have a new generation of leadership. And there's actually bipartisan legislation that is on the floor now to encourage that and to address the looming shortage of farmers in America. And that is definitely something that I will support and advocate for, as we know that Arkansas's rich agricultural legacy is something that we have to fight for. I'm the daughter of a cattle rancher. I'm the granddaughter of a cattle rancher. And for those of you in this room who are farmers or ranchers, you know just like I do, it's in our blood. It's who we are here in Arkansas. And there's nothing more important than ensuring that we can grow up a new generation of farmers and ranchers, and that's exactly what I'll fight for when I'm elected to United States Congress this November.